Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. We are your award-winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast. We have got with you tonight the award-winning Tottenham Hotspur Last Word on Spurs panel here that are award-winning. Listen, if you're here for the first time, you can find us on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're across all major audio platforms. We're of course on X, we are on Instagram, we're on Facebook too, and we're looking ahead. Early preview for this year on Last Word on Spurs, and we're daily than usual, looking ahead to Wolves to come for Tottenham Hotspur, of course, on Saturday. Another 3 o'clock kickoff. 3 p.m. I know, again, for our overseas listeners, that won't mean anything, but it's really weird to get two back-to-back 3 p.m. UK time kickoffs on a Saturday. It's like we've gone back to the old times. But look, lots to talk about on this Last Word on Spurs. We'll be discussing Spurs' current form, what we're making of that. We'll be discussing also Rodrigo Bentancur's current fitness. Many, I think, are a little bit concerned as to how he's just come back, as to whether he needs a bit of a rest. Should he carry on, be given these games, and essentially be bedded in for, of course, this next 5-6 games to come? Spurs going into Wolves are in pretty good nick when it comes to the availability of players. And we'll be touching upon Heung-Min Son potentially signing a new extension to his contract with Tottenham. And, of course, looking forward to Wolves to come on Saturday. I'm joined by, look, they need an introduction. He's the creative instructor, the conductor, the runner. And, of course, it's home games. We're not seeing him much at the moment. But Mr. McQueen is back. Macca, my man, how are you?
Getting on, boss man. You all right? You all right?
Yeah, not bad.
Content Awards panel. And obviously all you lovely viewers and listeners. I was at the game at the weekend, like most, well, all of us actually on the panel. And,
yeah.
I took my mum with me for her 71st birthday. And after that last-minute winner, she was on her feet, singing and dancing in that club, mate, to Freed from Desire. It was absolutely brilliant memories, and what a 3 points, what a way to win 3 points, and I'm here for it, mate. I'm absolutely here for it, and looking forward to, weirdly enough, playing my dad's team, because my dad's a Wolves supporter, my sister's a Brighton season ticket, and I took my mum. It's a family affair, but in a weird way, right? So yeah, hopefully we're going back to Wolves. We owe them one, don't we?
I can say this now with confidence. I know the man for the last 6-7 years. This is the man that's won The Apprentice, as, I don't know, set up how many businesses in his lifetime. And you wonder in that family, who's got the common sense to pull the short straw? He's a Spurs fan. I wonder what happened there, but we won't go into that. That could be another hour and a half of a show. This is your life. That will come with Lee McQueen in the summer for a special. Joining the panel as always. So I have her back on. Look, I've got to say, Tal, we've been trying to get you back on for all these post-match games, but because of the nature of the home games timings haven't been great. Tal, love to see you back on. You're smiling. Spurs has been a good place. How are you?
Hello. Good to be back. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. Not bad at all. I tell you what, Saturday aged me for I don't know how many months. I mean, I was honestly, that's one of those frustrating games. I know Patty probably feels the same. Being at, I just was screaming, give it a Son. Give it a Son. Russ Williams time on Saturday we did, but there you go, we did.
It was one of those games, but look, there is no better way to win a game or feeling as a fan in a stadium to win and nick it in the dying seconds of the game. The way it erupted was special. Even though, like I just told you guys, I did get saturated with what I hope is water as part of the celebrations around me. But it was a cracker and we loved it. So let's go.
Absolutely. I mean, look, it was nightclub vibes, and one man who was enjoying the party was Patty. Patty, I know even you said after the game, you've got to put perspective and context that there's no easy game in the Premier League, and, Brighton are a good footballing side. So, Patty, your thoughts on the fact that Spurs, come off the back of a weekend with yet another win, keep amongst that bunch at the top, where Sunday didn't really do us too many favours. We'll come on to those results on Sunday and where that leaves us in. But, Pat, overall, happy in yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm over the moon, man. And I said to you, and I said to quite a few people, Spurs needed to win, because I put my neck on the line. I was battling people. They were telling me that we'd be lucky to get a result. And they were kind of undermining me and gaslighting Spurs and saying, basically, just talking us down. So I was like, we're going to beat them. And obviously, when it was like 1 minute left, when Højbjerg took that shot and it went into Rose, I was thinking, oh, fuck, I'm finished. But then, off the next attack, I felt good. And we got like Talia said, to score in the death like that, there's no better feeling, man. That's the best way to win the game. Obviously, it's not good for the heart and for the pulse and all of that, but it was brilliant, man. And it's a nice way to go out. And we've suffered a few, defeats or equalizing goals in the death. So to win it like that was really good. And I feel good, man. I feel confident. At the end of the day, not every game's going to be a walk in the park. Brighton are a good footballing team. They have their moments where they're not good, but they were good, man. And we weren't as bad as people are making us out to be. Obviously, we was a bit sloppy in possession, sometimes passing the ball behind players. Maddison wasn't at his best. Kulusevski wasn't at his best. Bentancur wasn't at his best. So we had a lot of players that weren't really at the races. And usually when that happens, you lose a game. So the fact that we still won it is good. Is good news, man. And obviously, you're not always going to be at 100%. But even when you don't play good, if you can win your games, that just keeps you in good stead. So all in all, I'm happy. I feel positive. At the end of the day, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, we're not going to be fantastic in every game. Saw a lot of people overreacting on social media, but come on, we're winning games, man. Be happy, enjoy it, and obviously we just go on to the next one.
Yeah, you know, Pat, I echo those words, and Macca, we'll kick off with you here because I want to discuss the current form with Spurs because, again, as Pat alluded to there, late drama for Spurs once again. 1 week on from conceding in the 94th minute at Everton, it was Spurs' turn to strike a 96-minute winner against Brighton. Of course, we were trailing by like 1-0. Courtesy of that Pascal Gross penalty, it took Tottenham until the hour mark to restore parity in the game, thanks to Pape Matar Sarr on his first start since return from the Africa Cup of Nations, who found the back of the net. And it was looking like Spurs were maybe set to go for a second consecutive league game without a win. But there was one final twist to the towel. Brennan Johnson converting at the back post after fellow substitute Heung-Min Son picked him out. And I think it's a really interesting stat, Lee, that Brighton were unbeaten in their last 31 Premier League games, winning at half-time, 125, drew 6. That was dating back to May 2021 against Wolves, where they lost 2-1. I just want to know for you, in the context of the season, how big a win was that and what you're making at the moment of Spurs' current form overall?
It was a big win, for sure. But I'm with Pat on this. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that love the whole perception is reality thing because the reality is that we had better passing than them, we had more passing than them, we had more possession than them, we had more corners than them, we had more shots at target than them, we had more shots off target than them, we had better passing accuracy than them, and we scored more goals than them. So, you know, when you look at the statistics across the game, and bear in mind, all four of us were there, so your eyes don't deceive you, as someone will say. It's not just about stats, but as Pat just said, like, you know, Bentancur wasn't at his best, Kulusevski wasn't at his best. You know, yet we've just gone and turned over a team that
and Maddison, Lee. Sorry, I'll let Maddison.
And Maddison. In your opinion, I thought Maddison was good, but as you say, like, they're not at the top of their game. Yet we've still been better than Brighton. I think there was 2 spells from Brighton, certainly the first 25 minutes, for sure. In the game, and actually, if you look at the game just quickly as a quick summary and a review, VDV in the first 17 minutes was bad. You know, he's been absolutely brilliant. I've loved him the whole season when he's been playing. But you know, he gave the ball away for the Welbeck chance when Vicario had to make that save. Save number 1, by the way. It's number 1. He gave the penalty away, regardless if it was a penalty or wasn't a penalty, but he gave it away. That's a shot on target number 2 from Brighton. And then Vicario made a fantastic shave in the 29th minute from Matoma. And after that, team, breaking news, Brighton did not have a shot on target for the rest of the game after the 29th minute. So again, the perception is, you know, they could have scored at any time. But I think they had 1 chance, maybe 2. After that, I think it was Ansu Fati, who we were very heavily linked with. Couldn't hit a barn door, could he, the fella? Ansu Fati couldn't hit a barn door. He pushed it wide. And for me, the rest of the game with Tottenham, you know, we had a good couple of chances in the first half. Stills made a couple of good saves, 1 from Kulusevski, 1 from Richarlison. And in the second half, I thought Pape Matar Sarr, I thought he actually ran. Cheers, Sam. I thought he actually ran the show. I thought he actually ran the game. Pape Matar Sarr. And I know we're going to come on to him because we've got a section about him, but I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And then when you look at the winner, the actual winner, it was pure Ange ball. I think there was 9 passes from Vicario out in the back to VDV for VDV, to Davis, to Maddison, to Son, back to or to hit to Richarlison, to Maddison, back to Son, sorry, back to Maddison, to Richarlison, to Son, to Johnson in the back of the net. I mean, it's so fluid. It's 1-2 touch football all the way up the pitch, proper Ange ball. So yeah, it come in the last minute, but I think we fully deserve. When you look at the statistics, you look at the way we play, and you take the emotion out of the game and watch the whole thing back. When you already know the result, I think we fully deserve the victory. To be honest, Rick, and I'm going to sit here and say never in doubt with my tongue in my cheek, clearly, but we fully deserved that victory. And I think nowadays, if I can be so bold, there's so much analytics or analysis around everything. Oh, who didn't do this and who didn't do that? And that's great. And that's why we do a podcast and everything like that, Rick. But at the end of the day, enjoy it, man. We just smashed them 2-1. We fully deserved the win. Last minute winner, absolutely amazing. We go on to the next game. I think the only thing that that is a bit of a downer is certain players aren't playing well. But you've got to look at that as a positive, because when they start playing well again, which we know they will, we're going to be on fire. And I don't know if you missed it because you were putting things up about me being a 12-year-old Mac or whatever. But King Hoddle, obviously a good friend of the show, just put a statistic up in the group about it. If we beat Wolves, and that's a big if, isn't it? Let's be honest, team.
Not an easy game at all. Not an easy game at all.
But if we beat Wolves, that's an amazing record considering our first 10 games and how much we were talking about. We're amazing. We're top of the league. It's only a one loss is the difference, right? One loss. And weirdly enough, that loss came against Brighton when they gave us a footballing lesson in December. Yeah. So sorry to waffle on, but that's how I see the game. Like I was a bit, if I'm honest, I was a bit bemiffed with social media and even some of the post-match shows after the game, right? I thought we were good in patches and we fully deserved to win the game, so we were better than Brighton.
You know what, Tal, come over to you. I mean, just to read that out there, King Hoddle very kindly puts that if we beat Wolves, which is a big if, they've won 3 of their last 5 against Spurs at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It will read 1-7 drawn 2 lost 1 out of the first 10 games, which read 1-8 drawn 2 lost 0. So 2 excellent winning runs either side of the slump. And again, when you put that into consideration, I think we all probably have that feeling that had Spurs not have lost, essentially half the team in the end against Chelsea, I think we would have probably beaten the likes of Aston Villa, West Ham at home. Probably wouldn't have lost to Wolves away in the reverse fixture like we did, of course, winning that game up until the dying embers where Spurs conceded 2. But Tal, look, Spurs on the back of that weekend, obviously win, are now 1 point ahead of Villa and 6 above Manchester United with 14 Premier League games remaining. We are firmly in, of course, the business end of the season. It is worth me again putting that point out there that I said at the weekend. Spurs are the only Premier League side to both win 15 points from losing positions and drop 15 points from winning positions. But the biggest thing for me, Tal, which concerns me, is that it is worth noting Spurs have only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 15 league games. And look, I'll say this boldly now. Offences win titles. Should I say offences win matches, defences win titles. Where are we, Tal, for you in this evolution? And what do you make of the current form of Tottenham at the moment?
I think the current form is a weird one because as a fan and someone watching, I think it feels frustrating at times because it's not always that fluid handball football that we know we can play and we love. And when we don't play in that way, or we're not taking the shots, or we're just pulling back and passing backwards when we want to be going forwards, collectively, everyone feels slightly frustrated. And as we know and have seen previously, that is kind of the contagious energy that happens because I think we all expect to do those things now. Back in the day with our previous managers, if we saw that, we'd all be like, oh my God, what's happening? Whereas now, that's the standard. So when we don't meet that standard, it feels like we're not performing well. And when you look at those stats, like Lee just read them out, we obviously are playing better than those teams and still doing it. But as a viewer and as a fan, you watch and you're like, why is he not passing? Why is he not shooting? And it's that stuff that niggles at you. And I think why the negativity comes through on socials. And to me, I think it's quite odd. I think it's odd that it happened post-game because for me, it felt like that was happening around half-time, like being in the ground, everyone was annoyed, everyone was frustrated, and it was that kind of attitude. But afterwards, it was, let's go clubbing, this is amazing because we won in the best way possible. So to take that home and be negative, I think is slightly warped for me. But I do get where that energy is coming from in general because as you just said as well, the general play and some of our players aren't performing at their best. But I do think we have to remember that we've had players in international duty. We've had so many injuries and it is just that collective coming back together. Like it was only, 2-3 games ago where Mickey and Bentancur and Maddison was playing for the first time together. I think we forget that we're still quite early on in this puzzle, shall we call it. Everyone's got to work out how to play with each other and what to do. So we're quite new to that. And I think it is going to take time now that everyone's fit. Thank goodness. We need to see how that gels. And I'm actually quite surprised with that win, draw, loss thing that you put up, because I think we were all, pre-Chelsea, we were all like, oh my God, we're overperforming massively. Like, this is incredible. Like, we could win it. And everyone was getting so excited. But those stats actually show that we've been quite consistent, because since then we've pretty much pulled out the same results, but it feels way more negative than that. So I think that's actually a really interesting thing, because if you would have asked anyone and 5 minutes ago, I'd have been like, nah, this second half so far, we've well underperformed in comparison, but we actually haven't, which if anything, I think is you flip that and you think, well, we haven't had our best players. You've had, at times a half our 11 missing, and we're still getting the wins on the board that we did previously to that. So I think there is definitely niggles for me.
Just interact. Sorry, Tal, just interact with you there, because I think it's that middle bit that's missing. That King got first 10 games and the last 10 games, but that middle bit is the bit where we lost four games. And we lost 3 on the bounce, didn't we? Bang, 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 and then we had a draw, and then I think we lost. I think ironically the draw was against City, wasn't it? And then there was and then was the thing. But you picked up Tal massively on the bit that is concerning to me, and it is the defence. I mean, we've got the 7th best defensive record in the Premier League. The 7th. I mean, it's worse than Everton's. just so you know, I know Everton have had the 10 points, but they're in the bottom 3, and we've got a worse defensive record than them. Our attack is 4th best in the league, which is about right, because we're in the top 4. You look at the top 3 clubs, Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. They've conceded 23 goals Liverpool, 25 goals City, and 22 goals Arsenal. So we can have a go at that lot down the road all day long, but they've got the best defensive record in the Premier League at the moment, which is pretty impressive. And you look at Tottenham, we've conceded 36. That's 14 more goals than Arsenal that we've conceded.
Which is a problem, because it's a massive problem. And also goal difference is a point in everything these days as well. So when we're conceding goals, it's like losing a point in some ways, especially in some games when it's unnecessary. But it's concerning as well, because I think previously we all knew that we had to boost our defence, right? We were like, our defence is leaky, our players aren't good enough. And since then, obviously everyone's been super excited about Mickey, like Romero being vice has behaved himself, and with Coren and Dogi, who have largely been great this season, you think we've got a really good defence on paper and everyone's super happy with them. So if we're still conceding that many goals, that feels problematic and a big area for us. But I do think another one is this stupid new corner change with the players hugging the bloody keeper and everything else, where now every team against us seems to be on Vicario like a rash and just trying to do everything. So I think a mixture of everything, but it definitely does need improving, because Vicario's pulled some absolute bangers out there. But I think the last few games have been a bit shaky just because of that change and what happened with City and Ake and them scoring that goal. And since then, all these teams have jumped on it. And now you almost feel nervous when there's a corner. And I know this previous game against Brighton, Madders was in there like
the protector.
Blocking, but still, you do feel a bit shaky now, because you know what they're capable of. And I think we need to be better and stronger in these situations and really train to, be a good defensive unit.
Yeah. Agree.
7 goals conceded in the last. 7 goals conceded in the last 4 games. 2-2-2 plus the one against Brighton. Yeah. And actually, that them last 4 in the Premier League, in them last 4 games, we've had the Vicario's been a brilliant Doggy, Porro, and our centre back choice for them last 4 games. So so people say, they're coming back from injury, this and the other. But we've got Mickey van der Ven clocking the record sprints in the Premier League. It's faster than Usain Bolt. So, but we're still conceding, and for me that is a concern. You said at the top of the show, Rick. Defenses win titles, offenses win games, and actually we're way off it in terms of. I'm not saying that we're going to win the league anyway, but that's a lot of goals difference, right, for City, for Liverpool, and also for Arsenal.
Pat, I want to bring you in. Look, I think Spurs in the overall record at the moment, 140 of their 24 league games this season under, and it's only 5 defeats again out of the 24. That recent round of Premier League fixtures, of course, as again, we saw Spurs maintain their spot in the top 4 after Villa's loss to Manchester United. I think a lot has been said, Pat, about Tottenham conceding in the 90th minute plus this season. They've actually gained 8 points from scoring in the second half of injury time this term. 3 against Sheffield United, 2 versus Liverpool, 1 against City, 2 versus Brighton. Look, it's a great trait to be able to win late, but give me your thoughts, Pat. You were very complimentary there, the way Tottenham did get that win against Brighton. But have you got any concern of the overall play at the moment? And I think I asked this to you, Pat, on a previous show. We're now entering game week 25. Do you think at some point we will see a full 90-plus minutes of Ange Ball? Do you think that is too much for me to ask, given the case that we've got players coming back from injury? We've got, obviously, the fact of a system that players are still getting to grips with. Is it demanding too much to think that we will see a 90-minute performance between now and in the season, Pat, for you?
You know what? There's a lot to unpack with that question. It is a brilliant question, and I think the best way for me to do it is to try and break it down in stages. I do feel sometimes as fans, football fans, we get carried away and we're unrealistic. We need to essentially remember that it's basically the start of a season again, in the sense of a lot of these guys have never played together. Just the other day, they were talking about Bentancur had never played with Maddison, and Maddison had never played with this guy and that guy. Then we've had, obviously, a mini winter break. Son going away. He literally just came back. Sarr, Basuma, they've just come back. These guys have never played with the other guys. Dragison's literally brand new. Timo Werner hadn't played with Son and all the other guys. And, you're figuring out your best 11, who's best in the middle of the park, what partnerships are going to work, our best front 3 for whatever game. And a lot of these guys have never played together. So it's not going to be as cohesive and as fluent as it was before, because there are a few more new ingredients. So you've got to bear that in mind. Also, guys are at different stages. Son has played so much football in such a short space of time. An Asian Cup, obviously a lot of demand, a lot of pressure on him. Couple of his games went into extra time, then he flown back and obviously played straight away. Sarr, he was, they were the favourites for AFCON, so big expectations on his shoulders. He crashed out, so obviously that would have been a big emotional effect on him. And then he's come back and played a lot of football straight away as well. So when you add this together, it will affect the rhythm and the way we play. I also feel as well that as much as I love Ange Postecoglou and the way we play, I think sometimes the players are quite naive. Like Vicario, I think is brilliant, but I saw him in the game give a few suicide passes to players. He's passing to players when they've got 2 or 3 people. Like they literally collapsed on Bentancur every time he got the ball. Vicario passed the ball to him. In my opinion, that's Vicario's fault. He shouldn't be passing to Bentancur when there's people that are freer and will be able to move the ball. They collapse on Bentancur. He gives the ball away, and then we're literally under pressure. People turn around and say, oh, Bentancur looks sluggish, he looks slow. That might be the case, but why are you passing to a guy who's got 3 people on him? What do you expect the outcome to be? And yeah, if he beats them, it's brilliant, but it's suicide football, in my opinion, and it's going to likely lead to mistakes and cost you. So we also have to be a bit smarter. And yeah, Ange Ball negates that we take risks and we play out, but you can still use common sense. Do you know what I mean? If they're always going to crash, and Brighton are a team that play high, they press with fluidity, and they're very vicious in the way they play. Danny Welbeck was all over our players as soon as they received the ball. Kick it a bit longer, like beat that first man or second man, make them think about what they got to do, because it's so obvious what we do, and it just makes it a lot easier to play against. So sometimes switch it up a bit. So you've got to also think about that. But yeah, I just think that in terms of the form, is it concerning? Not really, because I do feel that, again, I mean, you guys have all said it with sensible heads on your shoulders, that the form is a lot better than what people are making it out. After the game, like you said, when you go on Twitter, I was like, what's going on? Like, I thought we played okay, not fantastic, but I thought we played better than Brighton. We got a good result. And I'm just looking at my Twitter feed and I'm seeing all these negative opinions, and I'm like, what? Like, we won. Imagine if we lost. So sometimes I just don't understand it. Honestly, I was
go there.
Without swearing, I was like, what the? I swear we just
we're in a nutshell.
Yeah, like, it's mad. Honestly, we're 4th in the league. We had just won in the last minute. I'm looking, and Brennan Johnson came on. Son, Basuma and Brennan Johnson came on and essentially changed the game. 2 of the guys were involved in the last goal. And I'm looking at my Twitter, I'm like, wow, like, why is everyone so... It's crazy. I mean, God forbid. Imagine if we would have lost that. So sometimes I don't get fans. They want to moan just for the sake of moaning. I'm like, I was happy. I was you know, and you got to be realistic, man. I've seen Man City play shit this year. I've seen Liverpool. Liverpool weren't great.
They weren't great against Everton earlier in the day.
Exactly. There you go.
It took them over 70-minute mark to go and get a goal.
To get a goal. Yeah. Liverpool weren't good against Burnley. I know they won 3-1. You know, the scoreline flattered them. I think some of our fans are in cuckoo land. They think we're going to play exceptional football 90-odd minutes every week. That's not how football works. So,
especially after what we had for the last 5 years, Pat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go back and start watching some of them games back, team. Please go and do that. Go and start watching Stellini ball. Yeah, go and watch the 0-0 draw against AC Milan. Go and do that. You know, because then you'll realise, whoa, man, this is amazing. Like, we just got to get a reality check, right? You with me?
Yeah, it's mental. And you know, I think we're in a good place, to be fair. I mean, Lee touched on it fantastically. We had more possession. We had more the ball than Brighton. Bear in mind, Brighton have 60-odd%, average 60-odd% possession. They're the second, basically, highest possession-based football team after Man City. They're a good team. So we had more the ball than them. Our XG was higher. I know some people don't like XG, but ours was 1.65. Theirs was 1.24. Bear in mind, 0.79 or 0.8, depending on how you look at it, of their XG was because they had a penalty. So without the penalty, their XG was literally, you know, we limited their actual decent in terms of attacking shots. They had a lot of the ball in the middle of the park, but they didn't actually, other than the two, you know, the first 15 minutes, they didn't really test Vicario. More total shots. We had 16 opposed to their 6. We created 4 big chances opposed to their 2. So essentially, when you look at the game, we did a lot more than them, and we deserved to win it. I know it was late on, but at the end of the day, we kept pushing and kept pushing. We were brave up into the last minute, and you know, I said, and even before Lee, I interrupted Lee and said that Maddison, for me, Maddison wasn't at his best, but he still created some really good chances. Like there was like Travella passed the outside
of his foot.
Yeah, I know, and it literally opened up the whole. And mate, what a guy! And even Kulusevski, who wasn't great in my opinion, that pass that he basically opened up the game and passed it to Sarr, who then obviously passed it. Lewis Dunk slid in, it hit the post, and then Sarr obviously tapped in or curled in the rebound.
With Kulu, well, we've just interrupted on Kulu, right? With Kulu, or Decky, Kulusevski, Dejan. What else can we say? But with Decky, right? I thought he had Esteponian on toast, like in the second half. I thought Pape Matar was running the game for me in the second half.
Yeah, that was incredible.
It wasn't that part of his game, though, was it? It's the lack of shooting. Lack of shots. I got confused in my head.
Everyone that was sitting around me, even my mum was popping up, going, "Why doesn't Decky shoot?"
But I said, everyone, you're just like, shoot, just do something with the ball because you know what's going to happen.
That game against Norwich where he just pings them. He just pings them in the top left and you think you're top right, top pins. You're thinking, go on, son, do it. And he weren't doing it. So, yeah, crazy.
And Go on.
Because I think it's really interesting. Just, you know, it's such a fascinating conversation because you opened up the show by asking us, you know, about our form and where we are, right? So the first 10 games, we conceded 0.9 goals per game, right? So less than a goal a game on average for the first 10 games. This is when we were winning the league and we're top of the league and all that sort of stuff. The last 10 games, we've conceded 1.6 goals per game.
And that's why there's that feeling, as Tal said earlier, about negativity.
Right? Yeah. But here's the thing that's really interesting. It is spot on, but here's the thing that's really interesting. The last 6 games, so bearing in mind that the last 10, we still didn't have most of our players because they're the AFCON and blah, 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 and Van der Ven's still injured. The last 6 games, when everyone's been back, we've conceded 2 goals per game, right? On average.
Yeah, this is the worrying thing.
This is worrying. Yeah. Let's flip it. Let's get positive. Let's go to the other end of the pitch. The last 10 games, we've scored 2.3 goals per game, right? On average. I'll give you one guess, team. This is not a cracker shit quiz. But I'll give you one guess. How many goals per game did we score in the first 10 games when we were top of the league and winning the lot? How many goals do you think it was?
2.3.
Exactly 3. I mean, you couldn't make it up. It's literally exactly the same.
Hard to say.
The point Tal was saying, it's pretty consistent, right?
Yeah.
Lull in the middle, then 4 or 5 games where we lost 4. We lost like that. Then 4 games, didn't we? After it was the Chelsea result, and they're laughing at us.
Of course it was.
That is made us struggle. But we need to keep clean sheets. Vicario's had 5 all season.
I mean, Macca, 1 clean sheet in 15. One, and bearing in mind how we start, but and just on that point again, this is what Tal said earlier about the negativity. It's the fact, at the moment we're having to score at least 2 goals, as you very kindly put there eloquently, to win a game. And my worry is at some point, this is not to be negative. I just don't want that to bring us down because we're great going forward. And again, I said this earlier. I've said this in the last couple of shows. This is such a likable team. I love every one of these guys that are playing. I feel a real deep affinity to a lot of those guys that are out there. Pape for me. I won't say being an unsung hero because I think many inside Spurs as fans, we know how good he is. And I've got to say again, probably won't get the credit for, I think at the end of the season, he should be right up there for me as maybe getting the Young Player of the Season award in the Premier League overall. But I've got a feeling because, again, with Pape, again, a young player that's just come in, he may get overlooked. But I hope he doesn't because he's been absolutely sensational in a Spurs shirt. And it's the same man that Conte, for some reason, didn't think he was good enough to play, which I find baffling. But from one midfielder to another, guys, I do want to ask you about Rodrigo Bentancur. Patty, I want to start with you because you made a point there about 5-10 minutes ago where you said that you feel that Bentancur has been given maybe some hospital balls to deal with, where really it's almost making maybe himself not look great onto the eye, where really he shouldn't be given those passes. But what I would say back to you on that, Patty, and I want you to come back to me on this, is that those were the passes that last season, the season before, that when you gave it to Rodrigo under pressure, he would glide past 3-4 players and he was given the liking to the likes of Dembele. Now, I'm not saying that's right, that he should be put in that position, but do you worry, Pat, that based on the first half showing, because I thought second half, he started the game quite well. He made that lovely jinking run for a cut of players. Does Rodrigo need to be played back into form? Or is it a case similar to Brennan Johnson where he needs to be taken out of the lineup and slowly bedded back in to find the best of Rodrigo Bentancur? Because again, I make that point. An ACL, there's no guarantee you'll ever get back the same player that you would previously. But we hope we do. Because again, he's a phenomenal player. And we've seen him coming back from the ACL. There's been a great player there. So you tell me, Pat, is class permanent? Should we be worried on Rodrigo?
No, I don't think we should be worried. Obviously, yes, we can be concerned, as Spurs fans and, fans that love him and love the team. He hasn't been at his best. You just got to be honest and call a spade a spade. But I do think people are overdoing it. Like I said earlier, that Vicario, for me, has to take or shoulder responsibility. You can't pass the ball to anybody. If it's Dembele, Luka Modric, whoever you consider a great dribbler and someone that can get out of space, you got 3 guys crashing in on you. That it's going to be very difficult to free yourself up and get the ball away and obviously create an attacking phase or push the ball up. He hasn't been at his best. Yes, I do also believe that he's just come off an ACL, which is a horrific injury, and it takes time. We had to then kind of overplay him because of the situation with everyone being injured and AFCON and this and that. I think probably he's played a bit more football than we would have liked. Then bear in mind that he was the man of the match against Aston Villa before Matty Cash took him out. So then he's had another injury and he's had to come back from that. So we have to put things into perspective. There's a lot that's been going on. And, you can see he's a competitor. He's fierce. He wants to play every minute. But I do think his minutes need to be kind of like tapered down a bit. We've got Sarr there. We've got Basuma. Dare I say, we've got Oliver Skip and Højbjerg. These guys also need to step in and play a role. And we can't expect too much from him. Just like Brennan Johnson was kind of taken out the firing line and came on and had an impact on Saturday's game. I think, we should do the same for Rodrigo Bentancur. You can even play Kulusevski in the middle now, and you got Maddison, because obviously you got Son, Werner, and Johnson and Richarlison as part of the quartet up top, and you can rotate. So you just need to be sensible on his minutes. You can't expect the world from someone who's just come back off of 2 injuries. So again, just context is key. Sometimes we overdo it and just go a bit crazy. I thought he was okay on Saturday. It wasn't his worst game. It wasn't his best game. He still had good moments, but also as well, sometimes players do kill the receiver, the ball. Sometimes you've got to be smart on how you pass the ball to someone. I see it all the time. And then we scream and shout at the person that loses the ball. But you got to think about, these guys are all top professionals. Like, for me, Vicario shouldn't be passing the ball to him there. That's mental. That's suicidal. Because then Vicario's screaming and shouting at everyone when he has to pull off a save. But it was his fault. So, it's a tricky one. Of course, we all love Rodrigo. We want him to be good, but it will take time. And even I saw reports saying that we don't expect him to be back at his best until the beginning of the 24-25 season.
Yeah,
that kind of makes sense. That's where we're at. So, you know, of course, yeah, you want to see better from him, but it is one of them things.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm on your wavelength here, Pat. I mean, for me, I wouldn't be judging him at all on the rest of the season. I think the guy does need, coming over to Utah, I think a full preseason under Ange to really, really get up to the level. But look, this is the worrying thing. You know, again, this is why there was such anger directly towards Matty Cash. And I think Talia was on that show at the time that actually happened with that injury. And I think we all were really concerned of the fact that, look, the guy only just come back recently from injury and then got such a horrific blow like that to then go and obviously receive yet another injury in such dramatic circumstances. And again, we can't get away from the fact that only about a month ago, the guy ran the game at Manchester United, got a goal, looked back to his best. But I think, again, it's really important, like Pat says there is some context that when you suffer an injury of that nature, you know, it's not going to be a quick, you know, comeback. It's going to be time where the guy needs to acclimatise back into not just the system at Tottenham, but the level of play. You know, play with Tottenham is such a intense level, Tal. Are you willing at least, you know, again, to give this guy the time to get back and judge him ultimately on what he does next season rather than the rest of this one, Tal, for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think I totally agree with what Pat said in his lovely, soothing manner. You make me feel like I completely agree with you, even if I don't. Like, it's like a power, but no, I genuinely do agree with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And no, I agree. I think it's going back to that word consistency. I think prior to his injury, he was just so consistently good. And we were all like, he's incredible, blah, blah, blah. You know, everything he did was top tier. And that's why we all fell in love with him and why we thought, you know, this signing is everything. And I think because he got injured so early on and we didn't see him in the beginning of this season, it was kind of like, you have that expectation when he comes back that he's going to be that glue again. He's going to fix everything because he's so great. And I think you just forget, and you have to give him that credit, that he can't just come back and be exactly who he was prior to when he got injured. It's going to take time for that to evolve. So I think it is something that, you know, we do have to tread carefully on, and we can't judge him too much. And I think the quotes have justified that as well. The feeling within the camp is very much that he will not be back to his best until next season. So I think we have to balance that. Look, when he plays, if he's playing great, that's cool. But if he needs a rest, we've got players in for the first time. We've got competitive spots. So let's give him that rest. And hopefully, you know, he can keep up his training, keep going. If he doesn't get overplayed, when he does come back and when he does play, he's spot on. Because that's the thing, you know, you watch the game and he does something that is superb. And then the next second, you're like, oh, why have you done that? And it is just that lack of consistency within game. Yeah. But like we said, handball is high pressure. And, you know, that's a lot for someone that has just come back in high pressure environment with a lot of, especially at home, a lot of pressure from the fans, you know, encouraging people to score and constantly go forward. But yeah, look, I don't think it's too much of a concern. I just think we've got to be strategic with how and when we play him, knowing that we do have other options. And yeah, that's it. He'll be back.
Sure. You know what, Tal, I totally agree with you on that. I think if there's one player that you feel like on the back of an ATL, you want to maybe give time to a system, I mean, it's tangible, isn't it? Because again, the intensity that it's played at and the nature of it, Maka, come over to you. The guy, I think, you know, was a phenomenon when he first came, and I'm not saying he's not anymore. Again, I think there's a recognition amongst, you know, most common sense Spurs fans that ultimately
common sense.
Well, there is some that you do find them. You do sometimes find them, maybe not all, but you do find some of them that I think there's a relative understanding that the guy is absolutely class on his day. And I think, again, if you were to look at his time at Tottenham, if there's one man you want to believe can get back to his best after, as we keep on saying, receive such a horrific injury, it is Rodrigo Bentancur. I just wonder whether you, Lee, now in these next few weeks, when we look ahead to Wolves, you know, would you be still up for playing Rodrigo? Do you feel it's, again, a rotational thing where I know we've only got the one game a week? Are you the mindset, Lee, that you keep playing him till he gets back to his best, or are you looking at that rotation, Lee, to get him the game time slowly and comfortably where he gets back to that level that we know he can reach?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I think I agree with all the points made. I think the fact that we got Basuma back in the squad now and actually came on, he played well.
It was great. This was great. In that last 15, 20 minutes was great. You know, he's so press resistant, Maka, isn't he? The way he can basically, you know, get around the press, which Brighton were doing, I have to say is phenomenal. And just to add on your point there, and you come back in, Biss, I think, is the perfect alternative to bring in there when Rodrigo is going through this particular bit of form, because you've got a great alternative, and it just shows you the options now. Mac of the squad and man just got to his disposal.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I put a little, like most of us do, I kind of put what I would predict the team to be. Not that I've got any intel on it. And I personally would have started Basuma against Brighton, because for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Ange debunked, didn't he, all of the facts around his malaria situation in his presser, and basically said, yeah, there's a small bout of malaria before the AFCON started, and it was cleared up and it was fine. So based on that, I would have stuck him as a starter, because Ange said that he was fit and ready to go, and the fact that it was against his old club, and the fact that he missed out, because he was a dick. Getting sent off and being banned, he missed out, didn't he, on playing them in December. So for all of them factors, I would have started Biss rather than Bentancur. What I'd quickly say about Bentancur, though, if it wasn't for Bentancur in that midfield, Sarr doesn't score that goal, and he was absolutely outstanding for that goal. Totally. And you can say he got a bit lucky because there was a bit of a ricochet, but he made that luck because he was very tenacious. He won the ball back, beat two players.
Totally agree.
You know what I mean? And I just think that, that they are the fine margins, as Jason and I and all of us always talk about, the fine margins, the moments in games, that if it wasn't for Bentancur, Sarr don't score that goal. But that said, I do agree. I think what's brilliant about it now with having Basuma coming back is that you can start Basuma as that press resistant 6. And then you can bring Bentancur on later as an 8 if you want to give him some more game time to get it back in his legs or whatever. You can then bring him on a 6 if Basuma is, tiring or whatever, last 20 minutes or whatever it might be. And you can then, once he's got some more game time, if you like, back in his legs and he's getting back into full fitness, you can then start him as an 8 or as a 6 later on. So I just think I think if you had Ange, if we were lucky enough ever to have Ange on the show to interview Ange, and you asked him questions, like, all said and done, if you had everyone fit, you would probably start to integrate Bentancur back in the team differently to how it's happened. But the fact is, we had no players, so he had to come straight back in. And actually, to your point, Rick, he ran the game, didn't he, in the second half against United? Come on, scored the goal, whatever. Yep. Come on, he came and scored the goal. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I agree. I agree with Chow, I agree with Pat. I think that, you probably won't see him start. I'll be surprised if Bentancur starts as a 6 against Wolves. I'll be very surprised.
Yeah. Can I just say finally on Bentancur, because many again are picking up on this case, and again, I think Ange just personally, the reason why he has been getting the game time is a reward for how hard he has worked to get himself back in a position. I don't think any of us actually expected him to be playing right now. Again, when you look at the time frame as to how quick he's come back, I think many may have implored the fact we might have seen the guy to March, April. So it's a testament to him as a player that he's got himself in a position.
To be fair, Rick, though, he's probably got enough to do with his injury. He's had a baby recently. So the baby that he's had now is probably, 6 months old.
Can't wait to get out of the house. Yeah.
Probably got tonsillitis, all the stuff that we all go through as parents. And he's probably getting no sleep and thinking, my days. So he's probably watching the show thinking, you're talking about my injury. I just need some sleep.
You talk me or Bentancur now.
yeah. Well, it's both of you, isn't it? You look like each other, son.
Oh,
that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing.
I must have a quick word on Pape before we look ahead to Wolves. Look, Patty, coming over to you. Pape Matar Sarr, I think all of us have got a bit of a man crush on this man. I think the way he's adapted to life at Spurs, especially under Ange. Again,
Tal hasn't got a man crush on him. I would guess, but you know what I mean. Like Tal might have a crush on him, but it won't be a man crush.
Man crush, yeah. Sorry, a crush. Trying to be there. What's the right word? Diplomatic to the panel, maybe. Pape Matar Sarr. Yeah, I try. Pape Matar Sarr, look, a guy that has made it clear that he wants to stay at Tottenham for as long as possible to push on and win trophies at Spurs. He said on the back of that game that, of course, he contributed with a goal at the back of Brighton. He said, look, it's a great feeling to be part of the things that are happening here at Tottenham. It's become like a family to me now, so it makes me happy to have renewed my contract with the club. The view is to stay here for as long as possible so I can really express myself on the pitch, enjoy the experience of the fall with the fans, and push on to win trophies. I try to enjoy each match as it comes. I want to make this a great season for us all and a good one for me. I mean, Pape Matar Sarr, is he simply, Pat, for you now? And I feel this way. He's one of the most important players on that team sheet I want to see every week. That's how important this guy's become for me in a Tottenham shirt.
Yeah, no, he has that mix of everything. He's like, it's weird because we keep saying unsung. We say about Kulusevski, we say about Sarr, but these are guys that pretty much can do whatever they want on the football field. He's got that mix of guile, craft. He's strong, can get a tackle in, can thread a pass. Obviously, can finish when he wants to. He does everything. He's a box to box. He's a machine. He's an engine. He's everywhere. But with all that being said, he kind of frustrated me on Saturday because he wasn't at his best. He was misplacing passes. He seemed a bit slow and rusty at times as well. And again, obviously, just coming back from AFCON, then getting thrown in. It's almost like they tried a bit too hard, it being like the first home game where they were all back together. I felt at times they were overdoing it and just overthinking the simple things. But he was still brilliant. He was still instrumental in how we played and how we wanted to express ourselves. He allows us to press. He allows us to push the ball forward. He's quick on a transition. He gets back. He's everywhere. And he's such a good player. And he's so young as well. He's only going to get better. In terms of this is his real first season at Spurs in terms of actually playing properly. Because I know Conte had him, but he didn't utilize him. He had a great game at the San Siro and then never saw the pitch again. It was really odd. But this year, obviously, he's been allowed to grow into games. He's become an important part of the team. And you see that. You see the training videos. You see how how close he is to Son, how much he's loved by Basuma. They've all taken to him. And yeah, he kind of embodies that new generation of Spurs.
Totally agree.
Like, him and Udogie, happy-go-lucky, really enthusiastic, energetic kids that are really talented and just love being at Tottenham. And it's funny because a year and a half ago, we had so many players that you just knew didn't want to be here. And they were just waiting to, essentially get traded. They'd see out their contract. They were, if they stay, they stay. If they go, they go. But now you've got guys that are really willing and happy to be here, talking about extending, saying all the right things. But on the pitch, they're showing the right things as well. And of course, he's young. He's going to make mistakes. So sometimes when he frustrates me and he misplaces a pass, I have to remember that he's still young. He's still learning. Everyone's learning the system, but all in all, you see the quality every game. The guy's he's so good. And I'm really excited and happy for him. I'm happy for us as well. That's a gem that we spotted. And if we got him for however much we got him for back then, imagine his value now. So this guy's he's a wonder kid. Him, Udogie, these guys are going places, and it's great to have them and allow them to build with us as opposed to being somewhere else. So we talk about, Brighton scouting system. We talk about essentially even Wolves' scouting system and some of these other guys. Now we've got it. So, it's great. It's great to see. And, we spoke about a painful rebuild and all of that stuff, and we're going through it. But some of it isn't painful. Some of it is actually, enjoyable and enjoyable to watch because you're seeing the fruits of Don Paratici's labour. So all stroke, shout out to you.
Maybe.
Literally that bang on cue when you come in with that. But this is the Don Paratici. So thank you, Don.
You know what, Pat? I think you summed up there so perfectly what you said. You said he's part of the new evolution at Tottenham. And that is exactly what I would describe Sarr as, because I think he's one of those front leaders, along with Udogie, along with Porro, Vicario, Maddison, Van der Ven. And again, I absolutely loved after the game, that moment between Romero and Vicario where, that passion, that's what you want to see in football for your club. When there's that passion.
Really?
That was some He-Man hope shit.
When you think about, what we've gone through over the last few years, to have that passion back in Spurs shirts, to see players caring that much about wins. Look, as fans, that's all you want to see, right? And I think, it comes at a good point where we're hearing from Paul O'Keefe, very good friend of the show, of course, was joining us the last few weeks as well. Tal, coming over to you, that Heung-Min Son, we understand, has held positive talks over a new contract at Tottenham. We understand that his contract doesn't expire until the summer of 2025, but the club do also hold the option of an extra season. I mean, Tal, look, Son's return, he came back into the side, absolutely crucial, of course, to get us that winner. And with no disrespect to Brennan, of course, that was on the end of it, or to Timo Werner. I think Anne said it after the game. There's very few players in the world that can play that kind of ball at that time in the game to help us get the winner. And that, again, just re-emphasised how just what that guy can do at Tottenham, the influence he has on the team, being the captain. I mean, just a lovely moment, Tal, for him, right, to come on, make a difference for the winner. And look, he's back home where he belongs at Tottenham.
Absolutely. And we all know how much Sonny loves Tottenham. And he is the one player that has committed through all of the roller coaster journey that we've been on over the last however many years. And he has constantly been rewarded for that, I think, by the large majority of our fans and the stuff that he can do on the pitch. And, you know, especially at the weekend, it's so important to remember he literally came straight off of a plane. He was absolutely gutted that his side obviously got knocked out so close to the final. And, you know, you read his Instagram post and your heart broke for him because he loves playing for his country and, you know, really wanted to deliver as captain, couldn't do it, came back. You know, we saw videos circulate on socials that, of course, he was happy to see the guys, but he was down, like he was sad. And the guys, you know, we've got this team spirit and everything. They loved him being back and stuff. And for him to come on, you know, even with 20 minutes or whatever it was to go, until that dying second, did not stop running and managed to get an assist for that winner, was just the best thing for him, because I think he couldn't have come back to a better reception, vibe, everything. And look, we know what Sonny can do. Sonny's incredible. He's our captain. And I think no matter how long you've been at the club, if you've been there a day or, you know, 15 years, everyone loves Sonny. So no one, I think, or everyone will be thrilled for him to get a new contract. It's so deserved. And he is the future. And, you know, of Tottenham, we love him. He is our star man. So we love it.
Tal, totally agree. Look, what we are going to do, we are going to look ahead to Wolves to come for Tottenham at, of course, the weekend. Spurs back in action. For those UK viewers and listeners to our shows, it's a 3 p.m. on a Saturday, a rare thing to have two in the space of a week, quite frankly. And look, Wolves are not in the Lee looked absolutely stunned there. I mean, Wolves are not in the best of form of late. They've lost 2 of their last 3 matches. Their recent defeat came against Brentford at home in a 2-0 defeat. Now, before that, they beat Chelsea 4-2 at Stamford Bridge. I know we're losing 4-3 at home to Manchester United in a late winner for the Reds. Macca, I'll start with you. Wolves are, I think, one of those sides where, quite honestly, they cause us so many problems at home. They've won 3 of their last 5 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You know, similar to Brighton, this is not going to be easy, is it? It's going to be another one of those games where it's going to be a real battle, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've got Wolves F1 in the stream, so welcome into the stream. And they were talking about, I think it was head-to-head, Spurs 6, Wolves 5. There's been no draws. There you go. Like back all the way back to 2018, there's been no draws between the sides. I remember what was we 2-0 up? We lost 3-2 to them and then that was under Conte or Marino? I can't remember. I think it's under Conte. And then we lost to Southampton straight after 2
that horrendous week. That horrendous week when we lost back to back.
Wolves kicked that off. I remember Jan Vertonghen when it was absolutely drenched. It was absolutely drenched down, and we went up to Wolves, and we got a late. Was it 93rd minute winner?
Under Jose.
Under Jose, yeah. So they are always tough games. We don't have to worry about Adama Traore anymore coming on, oiling himself up.
Oil boy.
Jason. We don't have to worry about him. But I think, and then to be fair, I think Gary O'Neill, Wolves F1 might say in the comments, but I think Gary O'Neill's done a fantastic job there. I couldn't understand why. Phenomenal. Yeah, and then he's gone to Wolves. He's done a brilliant job. He loves talking with his hands, doesn't he? Old Gary O'Neill. I think Gary O'Neill, when Gary O'Neill's talking, it feels like if we win against Wolves, when we beat Wolves at the weekend and we do Freed from Desire, it'd be great to get Gary O'Neill's post-match interview on the pitch. It looked like he's dancing when he.
Oh, he's always orchestrating the fan base. One of the two.
Just be orchestrating the fan base with his hands. No, he's all jokes aside, he's done a phenomenal job there, and I think they play the right way. But let's have it right. We absolutely owe Wolves one. Absolutely owe Wolves one, because that stung a lot the last time.
My birthday. It's my bloody birthday.
Yeah, exactly. And it was horrendous, right? And the fact of the matter is,
bad.
It was the first time. It was the first game that we played after all the injuries and suspensions. So I get that. It was also the first time this season that we hadn't seen Ange ball. other than the Fulham game. It was a throwback to the Fulham game in the Carabao Cup. Sorry, Rick. And we were woeful that day. And actually, even on that day, again, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, Brennan Johnson could have scored another one. I know he scored the first one, but he could have scored another one. It was a lame shot. And also, Lo Celso hit the bar before they went up the other end. And Eric Dyer just passed him, and Huibia just, fell over, and Emerson Plan at left back. And it was just a disaster. So, a little bit like Brighton, we owe them. We absolutely owe them. And I've just been looking at our home form. Our home form is absolutely first class the last 10 games. It's been absolutely brilliant. We're the same record as Arsenal in terms of our home games, which has been fantastic. And actually, what we're talking about there, we've only lost one game since December in the league. So we're actually unbeaten since that Brighton game in the league. That might mean that we're due a defeat. I hope it not. I think with another 90 minutes in Maddison's legs, he said at the end of the game, didn't he? Say, I couldn't even make the celebrations. My legs were goosed. I just had to go on the floor and celebrate. But I love him. Just love everything about him.
He just comes down to earth, and he's like, it's just like a mate.
Totally. Brilliant. So you look at that when you see all these players coming back. Basuma having a good cameo, and now he'll probably come back into the side with Bentancur getting a rest. The back four will be the back four. Vicario in brilliant form. Again, he don't get enough airtime on this show, and I know we've got to go, but I just want to say about Vicario, he made 2 outstanding saves yet again against Brighton. I know I bigged us up. In terms of Brighton's chances, but the 3 chances they had, one was a penalty, the other 2, Vicario's outstanding saves.
Absolutely.
So you look at these. I mean, their key man is, and Wolves F1 just said that Cunha, he might not be fit. Cunha, he might not be fit, and that's a good plus for us because he's very good. And obviously the Hang, is it Wang? Hang Wang?
Huang Chang. Yeah. Huang Chang,
Son's mate. He might not be back, but I think he will be. But their star man is without a doubt Neto. And we need to, no offense, Wolves F1 and any Wolves fans, we need to sign this bloke. I think he'd be absolutely banging for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He can play on the left, he can play on the right. I can't see where he's better, left or right. I think he's absolutely superb. I think he's their star man. So they can pose us some problems. But like I said, mate, we owe them 100%. We owe them, and I think if we go out and play our game, I quickly need to say this before you move on. Somebody said earlier, handball isn't about clean sheets. I totally get that, and I'm fully on board. I'm not talking about clean sheets per se, although I'd like a few more from Vicario. But I think if we're going to play the way we play, we need to create more chances, right? We need to create even more chances. We're having 6, maybe 5 or 6 shots on target a game. That needs to go up. That needs to go to 7, 8. That needs to go to 9 or 10. I mean, Patrick, you mentioned earlier about Liverpool versus Burnley. They had 10 shots on target, Liverpool. 10. I mean, that's double figures on target. We need to be in that echelon if we're going to start scoring 3 or 4. And you look at Arsenal. Arsenal have been highly criticised for not being able to score. They smashed 5 versus Palace and now just smashed West Ham. Embarrassing. West Ham. What are you doing? I mean, it just rolled over and done 6. So I think when you look at the is the goal difference on there? The goal difference is not on there. But you look at it. That's okay.
Looks amazing.
You were like, go on.
This is an audio. We've got the league table up here, and you've got Liverpool on top 54, Man City 52, Arsenal 52, Spurs 47, Villa 46. Man United are floating about there now. 41,
well, they're 6 points behind us now. I mean, again, that Villa gap now is a point. Yeah,
I'm not too fussed about that because I think that what's weird. Them top 5, we've got to play every single one of them teams. So it's totally within our. In fact, we've got to play. Out of that top 8,
we've got Arsenal at home, Man City.
We've got Arsenal at home, City at home. We've got Villa away. We've got Newcastle. We've also got West Ham as well. So it's within our hands, and that's the games that you love. You don't be frightened of them games. Embrace them games for me. So, but you look at Spurs' next 3 there. You got Wolves at home, Palace at home, and then Villa away. And actually, we're talking about Wolves. Wolves are around the 7th or 6th mark with regards to home wins and away wins. They're virtually there or thereabouts. I know they're a little bit lower in the table than that, but they're a good side, and I think that
they are a good side.
They're going to pose a threat. So anyone thinking we're going to rock up and smash them 6-0, like Arsenal just did to West Ham, it'd be nice. We need one of them results.
We do.
I don't think it's coming on Saturday, but I do think we'll win, Rick.
We'll get prediction from just a second. Pat, I want to bring you in. These are the previous lineups from obviously the weekend where Spurs lined up, as we know, with Enquiries in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Rodrigo Bentancur, Sarr, Maddison, Kulusevski, Timo Werner, and Richarlison. For Wolves, who played previously, and of course were beaten at home by Brentford, they lined up with Sarr, Semedo, Dawson, Kilman, Totti, Al-Nouri, Lamina, Gomez, Neto, Cunha, who we understand Cunha now is a very heavy doubt, unlikely to feature as things stands. Of course, Gary O'Neill will update later in the week with his presser. And Sarabia up front. No one can forget Sarabia, that goal he scored in the reverse fixture. I want to, Pat, for you in terms of the Spurs lineup, what changes would you like to see ahead of the game against Wolves on Saturday?
Like Lee said, the back four obviously picks itself. So that's standard. You're going to have the two centre-backs, Romero and Van der Ven, partner each other. Porro on the right and Udogie on the left, obviously. Maddison definitely starts for me. So will Sarr. I'd like to see Bentancur rotated with, not dropped, rotated with Basuma. And then I'm 50-50 on Kulusevski. I'm not sure if I keep him in or not. But I would probably say, obviously, Richarlison can't be dropped with his current goal form. And he's been really good. He wasn't fantastic against on the weekend against Brighton, but he did get himself into some good opportunities and obviously had a big chance where he should have scored. But he'll start as a 9, probably Son on one side. And I was, I'd probably keep, Werner on the other. I'd probably just go with that. And then you got Kulusevski and Brennan Johnson on the bench. But if Kulu starts over Werner, I'm not too fussed about that. So, yeah, I mean, the good thing is we've got options and they're quality options. So, when you look at the bench and you see Basuma, Son, and Brennan Johnson coming on, that's going to scare the rivals or the opponents. And regardless of who comes in and who doesn't, that the quality doesn't drop when you go to the bench, and that's what good teams have. And obviously, when we had all the injuries, our bench options were shocking. Now we've got a lot more quality, so I'm not too fussed on. I think you need to get the middle right, and obviously the defense picks itself. And then we just go again and just hope the guys that play well and are ruthless. Wolves are a good team, and obviously Cunha's a doubt. Very good player, 9 goals and he's on 6 assists. Hang Hee Chan is on 10 goals. He's a doubt as well. But these guys will probably make the Tottenham game. It's a big game for them, and obviously they're going to want to get one over on us. So I'm sure these guys, even though they say they're a doubt, I'm sure if they're even 50-50s, they're going to want to play. Absolutely. Obviously, Pedro Neto is fantastic. I love that guy. I think he's so good. He's rapid. He's skillful. He can go both ways. Like Lee's saying, I mean, he's someone I keep tweeting, we need to go all out to get him. He's on 8 assists, and he's been injured like half.
100%.
He's so good, man. He's on 8 assists. He's been injured like half the season. It's mental. He's rapid as well, and he's an old-fashioned winger that gives you nightmares. He's just that good. And Sarabia, kind of like an unsung hero. I mean, the goal he scored against us was insane, and just like,
he won't ever score like again in his life, Patty, will he?
You hear the commentator say, "Oh, he's never hit the ball like that in his life."
Of course he hasn't.
Typical. It had to be against us. Yeah, exactly.
It's an Anthony Costa classic, that one. Of course he hasn't.
Yeah,
of course he hasn't.
So annoying. But he's on 5 assists, so he's quietly been chipping in. And then Mario Lamina, obviously ex-Southampton, he's a decent player. He's got a bit of a nasty streak in him. Last game, he got away with a lot of fouls, and they weren't calling it. I hope the referee this time is a bit less lenient on their players, because I keep noticing how some of these teams get away with a lot. As opposed to what we get away with.
It'll be all over Vicario impact, probably.
Yeah. So I want to see the ref give it, be a bit more fairer. But they've got some good players, irrespective of who drops in or who comes out. Yeah. But to be fair, it's in our hands. As long as we play our game, we shouldn't worry about what they've got. We just need to be a bit more clinical, a bit more ruthless, a bit better in possession, and we should win the game. But going back to another point I raised, the clean sheets for me is a big concern. Our last clean sheet was on December the 15th against Nottingham Forest away, where we beat them 2-0, I believe it was. We haven't kept a clean sheet since. That's mental. That needs to improve. Irrespective of people saying, Ange ball this and Ange ball that, come on, defensive. You know, I mean, we've got good defenders. We should be keeping more clean sheets than that. And when you look at the teams above us, they are better defensively. And I know it's early days, but some of the defending, and like I say, sometimes the passing out is just mental, like suicidal. You just need to be a bit better in possession with and without the ball, because you don't win games if you can't keep clean sheets. And you can't win every game by scoring 3 or 4 goals. Sometimes you've got to see a 1-0 out. But obviously, if you're always conceding, then you need at least 2 or 3. And, you know, we've been on a really good streak. I think it's the longest streak in X amount of years.
I don't want to worry you, that, Pat. Who was the last? Do you know the last team, Pat, that Spurs didn't score against at home?
I didn't, but obviously I'm going to take a wild guess and say it was Wolves.
Yeah. March 2023.
Yeah,
not that I'm trying to put the knockers on it. I'm trying to get these out there. Yeah. I've got Costa buzzing me now. I can tell he's not happy. What I'm going to do, guys, I want to ask you all one final question. But before I do, let me quickly get predictions for you on this. Lee, we'll start with you, mate. Prediction for Saturday?
For me, I think we will. Yeah, I think we concede because I agree with Pat. I think we'll definitely concede. I can see it being. I think we'll win 3-1.
Okay, 3-1. I think we're all going to be there on Saturday as well, which is interesting. Tal, what are you going for, Tal? What are you going for Saturday?
I'm going to go 3-2.
Oh, it's going to be another late.
I nearly went 3-2 as well. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of them. You just know it's going to be like a 1-0. They're going to go up, and we won't start playing until like the 65th minute, and then we'll somehow find it, and it'll be all right.
Yeah. You know what, I must say, we're getting loads of comments here from lots of Aussies that have followed Ange for many, many years saying, look, if you want clean sheets, this is not the kind of football you're going to get them in. So, again, it'll be interesting. Again, I think many suggest that in the second season, a lot of this settles down with Ange, but it is basketball, right? This is the football we're going to be playing. And look, I think as Spurs fans, we are going to have to accept that there's going to be goals. I mean, the heart rate, I tell you, at the stadium is just pulsating at the moment. That's the one thing I will just say again, is that when we get that goal back for 1-0 or 2-2, you always feel there's a winner in there, which is, again, I must emphasise this point. I still can't believe it. I know people have got to leave for trains and leave for different reasons, but I can't believe the amount of people I saw leaving on 85, 84 minutes. Guys,
it's actually nuts considering as well. There could be like 10 minutes stoppage time now. And people
6 minutes. 6 minutes, How I did on against Wolves. 6 minutes added on.
And you're missing Freed from Desire, mate. I'm telling you, if you're in that South Stand and you have not been there for Freed from Desire,
bouncing.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, it is.
Liquids falling all over you.
I totally get, you know, that wait for the train to the Seven Sisters, or like, you know, the wait for the train from the Seven Sisters, or again from Northumberland. We know it's a wait, but guys, I mean, leaving Ange Ball now, I think it's the one manager where you can guarantee late drama. You just can't leave early. You really, really can't. Tal, you're going to go for 3-2. Pat, to close it to you. What are you going for, Pat?
My heart says 2-0, but my head says 3-1. But you know, I'm living. Irrespective of what, I love all the Aussies, so shout out to all the Aussies in the chat. But I need a clean sheet, man. I can't go 2+ months without a clean sheet. That is mental. So I want a clean sheet. I want a good offensive display and solid resilience from the back. So 2-0. But realistically, we don't clean sheets. So it's going to be a 3-1.
If we can't get one, I want a margin where my heart isn't going.
Exactly.
I'm with that.
We need to build the goal difference.
Madden said it in the in his interview after, I think, Brentford, where he went, I just can't wait for a 3-0. We're thinking, yeah, we all want that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. No, just quick on that. I mean, you know, we've got to convert some of these chances into shots on target at least. Work the freaking goalkeeper. Huge. You know, like that was the frustration that all of us felt against Brighton. Have a shot. It's so weird. I asked my mate Stefan. He watches we go to games together. I've known him since I was 3. He watches all of these, right? He loves all of you lot, so he's big up to Steph. And I said to him, I'm going to look up a stat for the Blue Book, and I'll look it up. What are you looking for? And I said, I want to know how many shots Spurs have had as a team in the Premier League, because it's got to be low. It's got to be low. Anyway, he found it. You couldn't make this up. Liverpool 457, Arsenal 405, City 396. Who do you think's next?
Tottenham.
Tottenham. We've had the 4th highest shots in the league across the. That's crazy. And again, perception and fact. Yeah. The perception is that there's no way we've had that many, but we have, because it's factual information. We've hit the woodwork incidentally. Blue Book's on fire tonight. We've hit the woodwork 13 times this year. 13 times. So I'm saying convert some of them chances into shots on target. Get up to the levels of 7 and 8 and 9 a game. We will score 3 or 4 every single week. Do you see what I mean? Even against Brentford, we didn't hit 8 or 9 on target and we scored 3. You know, the last time we scored 5 was against Burnley. That was
I think the common theme that is coming out here is that we want to have a game where we've got a margin, like Tal says there, where, you know what, like you pointed out there, Lee, with that amazing stat macker, that shot ratio there. Shots aren't really the problem. It's that we don't have that margin, Tal, you were speaking about, right?
100%.
Every game you're on the edge of your seat, or you're like, you're so like, oh my God, we can screw this up in the last minute because we don't have the cushion. Just give me a cushion.
Yeah, give us a cushion, please. Right, guys, one final one I want to ask you. In terms of where we are in terms of the top 4 at the moment with Tottenham, because again, many are saying the fact that, look, we're going to have a massive, massive say when it comes towards the end of the season. I know Arsenal fans are laughing right now. I don't know why they should be or could be at the moment. Look, Spurs currently 4th in the Premier League. They're a point above Aston Villa. They are currently 6 ahead of United. They are currently, we're now 50. We're 5 behind Arsenal as things stand. You can maybe say 6 with the goal difference. I want to ask you guys very, very quickly. Pat, to you, minimum now for the rest of the season, do you think a top 4 finish is the minimum, or do you feel that's still going to be a battle with Villa and Manchester United in there for you?
It's going to be a battle, of course, because Villa are still a good team. I was saying this on a few of the podcasts I've been on this week. Yeah, they've had a slump. They lost 3-1 to Chelsea, and obviously they kind of threw the game away against Man United, but they're still a good team. You'd be foolish to write them off. They play good football. They've got good players all over the park, and Unai Emery is a very, very, very good manager. So they're not out of it. United are a weird one. They play in moments, but again, they've got a say, and they're still within touching distance of us. If you know, it's a 2-game swing, but it's still there or thereabouts. But it's in our hands, and I would be very disappointed if we didn't secure 4th. Yeah. I said from about October, November times, even when we were top of the league, I said, again, on all the platforms I'm on, that I thought it'd be a 3-horse race between Liverpool, City and Arsenal, and we would probably finish about 10 points behind them. As it stands, we're, you know, within touching distance, but you could possibly see that extend in terms of those guys. But yeah, I'd be very disappointed if we did get 4th. For me, I feel we're the 4th best team. It is tight with us and Villa, but Villa do have European commitments as well. That should derail them. But I look at our team, I look at theirs, I'd probably say we're just a bit better than them. Especially when you look at the terms of it's Ange's first year. Emery's had a bit more time there. But yeah, I would be, of course, at the beginning of the season, no one expected us to be where we are, but we've been here literally the whole season. So for us to now throw it away would be mental. And we can do it. We've seen that out before. I don't see why we can't do it. There's a good camaraderie amongst the troops. They're all pushing for it. At the end of the day, I think these guys will quietly be saying behind closed doors, why can't we aim for the title? And I don't mind that, because if you aim high, even if you don't achieve that, you still finish within the top 4. But as a fan, I'm just thinking probably 4th. But, you know, we're not that far behind Arsenal and City if you really look at it.
And we've got a plan, Pat. And we've got a plan.
Yeah, exactly. So,
that's the big thing for me. That's the big thing for me.
So, you know, it's in our hands. But obviously, you know, you got to be realistic. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're better than those guys, because we're not. Like, let's just be honest. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of football left to be played. And it's a results-based business. If we can get the results and they don't, then you just never know. But yeah, if we don't get 4th, I will be fuming. I'm not going to sit here and try and butter it up. We have to get Champions League football, considering we've been the 4th best team at least this season. We play good football. We've got good players. Why not go out and get Champions League football? Sell the brand to some very good players, bring them in the summer, and then you go again. You know, if you're playing very good football, you've got a crop of talented players. You've got Andrew as your manager, and you're in the Champions League. Why can't you go and attract some of the top talent to really push this team on? So for me, we have to get Champions League football now, considering everything I just said.
Okay, Tal, I'm going to go to you and close on Lee. Tal, for you very quickly, based on what we've got to come up with Spurs fixture-wise, how the table looks, what's the minimum realistic expectation for you at the moment as Spurs will finish this season?
I think considering it's so close, you can't write us off, and you wouldn't expect to. I think we all said at the beginning of the season, after starting so well, top 4 is definitely the goal. And I think that remains to be the goal. We need to restore Champions League football to the lane. I think, yeah, that should make everyone happy. I think that we are, less than like 2 games off the guys above us. I know City have got a game in hand, but that's the aim. That's it. We've got to get top 4. And obviously there is that small cushion that there is a chance that 5th gets Champions League, but we've got to aim for 4th. And just we've got to win games. That's it. Just do us. I think it's not in our hands or whatever. In my opinion, it's just we've got to take each game as it comes, get the points on the board, and fingers crossed we steal some off the people above us and it works out.
Fingers crossed. Macca, bear in mind I told you we'd close 20 minutes ago. Let me give you the final word. Macca, table-wise, where Spurs stand, fixtures to come. What for you now you believe is the minimum expectation, given we've got to play all those guys above us in, of course, this second half of the season?
Well, I think that's the key thing for me because, if you haven't done this already, go to the Spurs play and watch the Peter Crouch podcast that Ben Haynes and Milesy done, because it's absolutely brilliant. And he really drills down and talks into that point where we had to play Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man City to get into the top 4 when Crouch scored that header. And it takes you right back, and you go and watch that game back as well. It was a ding-dong game. And is it going to happen? Is this not going to happen? For me, these are the games that you're craving, like the Newcastle, like that whole run is really, really important, and this we should be getting excited for. If we continue our points per game ratio for where we are today for the rest of the season, we get 74 points, and ultimately that 74 points will guarantee you top 4 football, guaranteed over the last 15 years in the Premier League, right? Guaranteed. And if we win all of our remaining games, we'll get 89 points, right? So, the reality is we're not going to win the league, I don't think, with 89 points. So you can put that one to bed. But we have to go to Anfield. Arsenal have to come to Spurs, and then we will not lose that game this year. We will not lose that game. It is absolute fact that we will beat them. I'm so sure of it, like I was on the COVID season. When they canceled that COVID game on us, there was no way we were losing that game, and we won't. So, yes, they look like they're 5 points ahead of us at the moment, but they're actually not. They're actually only 3 because if we don't win the game, let's have it right. If we don't beat them at our place, we can forget this conversation anyway, right? Because so for me, I think that's where City have got to come. We owe them one for the FA Cup. They're not very good at our stadium, blah, blah, blah. Aki can do one. Ruben Dias can do one, whatever, because of the whole Vicario thing. So we owe them. And the key thing for me is that Man City just kicked off their last 16 campaign in the Champions League tonight, which basically means, team, Champions League is back, which means they're playing a home fixture and away fixture, and Arsenal kicks off on the 21st of February. They've now got European football again. You just don't know all of a sudden if they've got an away game against Porto, and then the following fixture is a tricky, away fixture. I don't know. They've got to play City. But Arsenal still got to play City, for crying out loud. City have still got to play Arsenal. Liverpool still got to play City. Liverpool and Man City still got to play Manchester United in the derby. It's way too early. Even now. Keep winning your football matches, Tottenham. Keep winning your football matches and see what happens. If we are still in the mixer, 5 points around the top, I'm not saying we're going to win it, but if we're in the mixer before that week happens, let's enjoy it, because this is astounding football. And we finished 8th last year, and we were absolute dross. So, even if we finish 5th team, it would be absolutely brilliant. I said at the beginning of the season, before ball kicked, that we'd finish at least 5th. And when the ball was kicked and we realised how good we were, I said we'd finish 3rd. I'm still going with that. I think we'll finish 3rd.
Yeah, Russ, again, with you, Lee, says 3rd as well. Look, it's going to be an interesting run to the season. I think, again, when you look at the time where we are this time last season, we were still conserving energy under Conte, right? We kept saying we're conserving energy. Yeah. I've never known a team conserve energy so much, given the way that first half of the season capitulated. But look, it's a good time to be a Spurs fan. It is going to be an exciting finish here on Last Word on Spurs. All these guys are going to take you through right to the end of the season. Guys, I want to say a massive, massive thank you, Patty. Thank you so much, my man. Love to have you back on. I've got to say, it's been really annoying, Pat, because it's the one game a week now. It means one of them are at home, mate. We're really missing you. The fact it's only once every couple of weeks, mate. So thank you so much, my man.
Yeah,
I do, mate. I'm not saying back in too. So.
No, I'm joking.
I feel bad when I can't get on the post-match games after the home games. But obviously, I'm at the stadium and it's mental.
Doing free from the Zio and Macca. That's why. And Talia, you're all going to do it, mate.
We're going to do it. If we win, let's make a pact, Pat.
I'll join this.
If we win, we'll just grab on. We'll get the link and we will hoodwink.
Yeah. Lee, I did it on was it New Year's Eve or New Year?
Yeah, poor Pat had to find that light in the poor bloke.
It was mental trying to do it, but I will do
Mate,
it.
I done it in an Uber once. The people in the comments will remember I did it in an Uber once. It was horrific.
That Uber went round 4 times. They charged him 4 times. I didn't realise.
But obviously, every time there's an away game, as you guys know, I'm here, so not a problem at all. And yeah, it's been fun, man. Talia, it's been ages. You need to jump on more often, man. It's always fun when you're on. So,
it's just trying to make it work with Tal. Bless her.
He really hates me.
You know, I said to Tal before, we've not been very lucky in terms of Saturday games where, bless her, it's a Saturday night. It's not been great. And the timings have not been ideal. So we're trying to get Tal back in with the midweek games. Hopefully we'll get some more Tal post-match on scene now and then in the season. Patty, thank you. Tal, thank you. Tal, lovely to be back on. Thank you so much as always.
Thank you for having me. Love it as always.
Yeah, great vibe, great panel, great team, great chemistry. Macca, you're the same, mate. Once every couple of weeks at the moment, we're getting Macca withdrawal symptoms here.
Mate, I'm getting withdrawal symptoms from the show. I've been absolutely stacked, man. I'm doing all this new entrepreneurial academy that I've got going on. Get involved. Follow me on the socials, man, to find out what I've been up to. I've actually got a nice light. See this like Tottenham colours. I don't want to mention it,
but I'll tell you, lighting's improving. I love the lighting.
I know. I've started to put some.
And your Wi-Fi.
And about the Wi-Fi, I don't want to speak. The Wi-Fi's been all right so far.
No, I've been personal hotspotting all night.
Oh my God, he's ruined it. He's ruined it.
My phone bill, my data is just like. Love it. Just quickly, right, before you finish the show, you ain't getting away with this, right? We've had predictions, but you didn't give a prediction. What's your prediction? You're going 2-0 Wolves.
I think it'll be another very. I'd say 2-1 Spurs. I think it's be another real close game. Which I'm going to hopefully be there for. It's going to be tight, though. These games, I would agree, it's great on your edge seat, but I cannot wait for hopefully a 3-4 at home where we can just sit back and be like, oh, relaxed. I'll wait. I'm pining for that moment. But
wake up, you're in a dream. Not real life.
All the odds are telling me it's not going to happen, so I'm just going to enjoy the ride. Guys, thank you for your support. Honestly, great support for the show as always. Thanks so much for your love. We'll see you after Wolves on Saturday from myself, from Macca, from Patty, from Tal. We've been the last one on Spurs. Keep safe, keep well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.